Joining me now from our bureau in Washington, D.C., constitutional attorney and Associate Deputy Attorney General under President Reagan, Bruce Fein. Bruce, the State of the Union. We're staring at the State of the Union. I would say, what is the state of the United States Constitution? What is the state of the impeachment clauses? There are multiple clauses about impeachment in the United States Constitution. And my answer, I want to hear yours, of course, but my answer, short answer, is that what Alexander Hamilton may have warned us about, that now the chief executive could potentially be serving at the pleasure of the legislature post-impeachment, post this weaponization of one chunk of the United States Constitution, post the Article I branch attacking the Article II branch. It appears to me that Alexander Hamilton's worst fears could be coming to fruition.
Well, that's possible. He clearly was prescient in stating that he worried that impeachment would degenerate into a partisan exercise where it wasn't the character of the activity that was at issue, but simply an effort to gain a political advantage. I think that the influence of this particular impeachment process against Mr. Trump as a precedent will be shaped substantially by the 2020 elections. If those who supported the president are returned, the president is reelected, and the Democrats pay a price politically, I think the message will be, don't try this again. We also, however, in impeachment, because there isn't any regularized process, the House has failed in 229 years to actually define what is an impeachable offense, it's hard to know how much weight to put on precedent. Remember, Andrew Johnson was impeached in 1868. It was a partisan impeachment by radical Republicans at the time. He was acquitted, and I do believe that the charges were, in many respects, like the charges against Mr. Trump, allegedly violating a civil statute, making haranguing speeches and things of that sort. But the precedent really didn't carry much weight. It was almost 100 years or more before there was a second impeachment of the president. Now, the dynamic today is a little bit different, but I think it's too early to be definitive about what the strength of the precedent will be until we see the political fallout.
But Andrew Johnson was accused of violating a statute, a law that was on the books, and Bill Clinton had 11 felonies that he was accused of. President Trump was accused of no crime and non-impeachable offenses. Article I of the impeachment of the 45th President of the United States, abuse of power, a vague term. The framers would reject it. He withheld funds, yeah, sure, but that's within the purview of the president. And if you are to apply abuse of power and withholding funds and normal activities of the President of the United States, then wouldn't we have to posthumously impeach Barack Obama and maybe the 43 previous presidents as well?
Well, I've written that many presidents should have been impeached that weren't because of clear violations of the Constitution in many different respects. But remember, with regard to Andrew Johnson, just as a historical fact, the Tenure of Office Act did not impose any criminal penalties. It wasn't a crime. And in addition, there are other articles, there are 13 against Mr. Johnson, and they charged making haranguing and inflammatory speeches, which clearly wasn't a crime. So because the House, I think, has been irresponsible, we don't have any clear pattern of criminality, non-criminality. It's whatever you can muster a partisan majority to vote for at any particular time, which is why I've stated and tried to work for over 10 years to get more regularization and due process in the issue, to have standards that are spelled out in House resolutions. We will deem this or that an impeachable offense. So I don't want to, but again, because there isn't regularization, there's no requirement, unlike in the courts where precedent is binding, that one House decision is binding on another. And that's why I say the political ramifications are far more important than what we could talk about with regard to the intent of the framers. They clearly rejected maladministration as a standard for impeachment and substituted high crimes and misdemeanors. But even that is a rather vague term. What we do know, however, about this particular impeachment, that it was partisan from beginning to end.
Yep.
And the Democrats were taking positions with regard to military aid to Ukraine with President Trump in the White House, that they took the opposite position when Mr. Obama was there.
And one thing is certain, that President Ford, then Congressman Ford, and current Congresswoman Maxine Waters are both wrong. That impeachment is not whatever the House of Representatives says it is. It's delineated in the Constitution, but your point is they could make it just a little bit clearer, and then maybe we could avoid a mess like this. Bruce, thanks.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.